Hello, good afternoon, good evening. All of you, thank you for coming here to today's webinar. Just going to give this a few additional moments so that everyone gets settled in. I know it's all virtual, so hopefully you guys are all sitting down right now. Thank you for spending some time here with us today. We're very excited to present this presentation. It's a co-presented webinar between MyAdvice as well as one of my most favorite booking platforms, Boulevard. So welcome to today's conversation. This is the system behind the scale. So real stories about AI, automation, and aesthetic success. So today, during our conversation, we're going to explore what happens when you move from having a collection of these disconnected tools and systems that you're running to market your practice, to manage your practice, to what happens when you have a unified system that helps to attract clients, improves your retention, as well as streamlines operations. I'm going to be talking a little bit later about profitable growth, and that fits in very, very nicely to what that means. And it's all done without adding much more to your workload. You're going to hear real story success from actually one of our co-clients here, Erica Conforti of Medical Aesthetics. She has a 4-location medical spa practice in Massachusetts. Very, very successful. You're actually going to be able to hear from Erica directly what the integration between these two companies has really meant for her lead flow as well as lead management strategy. So whether your goal is to be able to fill your calendar faster or to be able to scale with less stress, this session will highlight how AI-powered marketing as well as intelligent client management really create a very complete and competitive edge for your practice. So guys, to introduce myself, my name is Michael Antozzi. I'm going to be emceeing this as well as presenting this. I oversee practice growth consulting with MyAdvice. I'm here to kick things off here today. Just some quick housekeeping tips before we start to jump in. Number one, both myself as well as Skaya, we will be fielding questions for you. And as we're presenting, there is a little Q&A at the bottom of the Zoom. Feel free to be able to submit any questions that you have right there through the Q&A. If we have time at the end, we'll be able to answer those questions. I'll field those and we hopefully be able to get back to you with some of their answers. If not, though, trust that any question that you will ask in the Q&A, we will answer at some point. It might not just be directly on this webinar here. Also, too, we're going to be sending a copy of this recording tomorrow. So just in case you miss anything, or if you want to share it with a coworker or a friend who couldn't be here, please feel free to be able to do that. So in terms of our presenters, number one, Skya Jones with Boulevard. She is an industry consultant and one of Boulevard's in-house med spa experts. She partners with Boulevard's team and customers to create an exceptional client experiences. With nearly a decade in the med spa space, Skya is also managing consultant for med spa practices and retail beauty brands, bringing practical as well as on-the-ground insights to overall practice growth. I'm so excited to present here with you today. I feel like we've been on some panels at different organizations, but never had the chance to do this one-on-one. So really, really excited to be able to have you here. For those of you who do not know who I am, my name is Michael Antozzi. I oversee practice growth consulting here with MyAdvice. We were established back in 1998. We currently work with about 2,500 practices all throughout the United States, but really with one main goal of driving profitable growth for our practices, bringing patients to the door, getting the phone to ring, and really how your lead generation digital strategy is set up to be able to support that and to do that. Been in this industry for about 16 years. I present at many national meetings. Maybe ran into a few of you here on the webinar at some past conferences. Looking forward to be able to hopefully see you all again this fall at some upcoming meetings as well here too. So let me kind of kick it off here a little bit, guys. And I'm going to first really talk a little bit more about revenue optimization and really how your digital strategy placates into be able to do that. So let me start to share my screen here. If I can just pull up my slide deck quickly, and we will dive in. Okay. So when we talk about overall practice growth and driving revenue and to do it in the most cost efficient way, there's a word and a phraseology that not many practice owners really understand. And it's really the whole why as to really why you invest into marketing strategies to begin with. It's because the end goal, it's less about vanity metrics. It's not about really where you're ranking on Google or where people went onto a specific page on your website for, but are you addressing what we call profitable growth? Is your marketing strategy set up to be able to drive that for your practice? What is profitable growth? There's really 3 features that really go into what we define this, which is how is your marketing generating more opportunities for you? How are you converting those opportunities into more revenue? And then lastly and finally, are you doing this in the most cost efficient way? Is your marketing set up in a position where you're overspending to see less back, or are things streamlined so that way that cost of acquisition is driving down as far as it can? When we work with our practices, this is the metric that is really our guiding light, our guiding star, is how we can help you to drive much more profitable growth for your practice. Now, what we find is that practice owners, one of the main reasons as to why they're not driving good profitable growth is because they have disparate systems. They might have, their website company over here. They might have their review technology over here. Then they have their booking platform and their CRM. And the problem is that none of these things are harmonized. They're not synergized. Imagine going to see an orchestra play. You got, dinner date out with the husband or the wife. You spend a lot of money on dinner, getting tickets to go see the orchestra, and then you show up and there's no conductor. And what ends up happening is that all these, people are just playing their instruments, but they have no guiding light. So part of what we help to accomplish and drive for our practices is having a complete AI-driven platform that manages all facets of your lead generation. This is what we call our Client Success Center. I'm going to get into showing you guys a little bit more in terms of what this is in just a quick moment. But there's so many pieces that really have to be harmonized and synergized to drive that profitable growth. Do you have a great website? And just because you have a website does not necessarily mean it's working for your practice. We're going to go into a little bit further in just a few moments, helping you to understand what makes a website productive. Are you managing a lot of your Google visibility strategy or even AI strategy within platforms like ChatGPT to drive your exposure? Folks, we have seen so many big shifts and changes because of what ChatGPT is doing in the search landscape market. Frankly, not saying that Google is going away, but there are now other players to the game, and patients' search behavior is also changing very rapidly. The thing that AI is doing for us in today's age is that we're no longer sifting through information or resources. We're relying on the AI to tell us where to go to. So is your strategy best positioned in order to really stay competitive in this new landscape, which we'll talk about this in a little bit. But folks, it doesn't matter from a marketing perspective, what you do to drive your exposure, if it's through ads or billboards or TV or digital, everything really leads back to the website. And the website's main job is to be able to convert those leads and to create more of those opportunities into revenue for your practice. If it's not making your phone ring, it's not doing the job for you in the way that it should. Let me give you guys a little bit of a story here. So I was speaking at a conference a few years ago, and this doctor comes up to me and he talks to me about how he has a big problem in his practice. And I said, all right, well, talk to me. What's going on? And he starts by saying to me that, listen, just before we continue, I'm just going to tell you right now, I am the best at doing Botox. And I think his practice was somewhere in Seattle. But he's like, I've been doing it for like 15, 20 years. My results look natural. My patients are so happy. And I'm just going to tell you that I'm the best at that. I was like, all right, you said you had a problem. What's your problem? And he goes, oh, yeah, my problem. So he goes on to tell me this story, how a few months ago, it was about a half year ago, a newer practice had opened up. It was a few blocks down the road from him. And he had noticed that ever since that new practice had moved in, he was not doing as much facial injectables. And that was really having a precipitous impact in terms of how he was growing his practice, because what he was doing is he was using Botox as a means of acquiring patients to come in, but then he was then upselling them into other services at his practice. And so it was really having a trickle-down effect in terms of how he was driving revenue. So I said, all right, cool. Thanks for sharing that story. So I said, I'll tell you what, let's just open up your website. Let's take a look there and see what's going on. So guys, I opened up the website and immediately I knew exactly what his problem was. And he goes, well, how can you tell me what my problem is? You just spent like 2 seconds looking at my website. And I said, yeah, that's all the time that I needed. And he goes, well, tell me, what's wrong? And I said, listen, you just got done telling me that you are the best at Botox in Seattle and that your results are perfect, they're natural, they're amazing, and that you're the best at doing that. And he goes, yes, absolutely true. And I said, I'm sorry to tell you this, but your website sucks. And guys, this is like a dinosaur website. I mean, it looked like it was built in the 1990s. If you guys remember that websites back in those days, in the Netscape days, that had like a ticker counter on it. It'd tell you like, hey, you're the 10,000th visitor to the website. It was that old. And, looking at his competitor site, it was bright, it was vibrant, it had great imagery, it just had a great feeling that, oh gosh, this is an energy that we want to go to. It didn't matter what his experience was. If that narrative was not being effectively communicated through his online presence and digital strategy, it was no wonder where people were gravitating to, which was obviously the practice that made it look like they cared. So guys, I'm going to show you 6 different websites on the next slide. And here's the thing, patients make decisions about going to your practice within 2.9 seconds. Within that time, they're deciding, am I going to stay or am I going to go? And guess what? If they leave your site, they never convert, which means you're losing that revenue. You're leaking that revenue. But if they stay, that's where you start to really win the opportunity to win that business. Within that 2.9 seconds, that's all the time I'm going to give you. I want you to tell me which are the practices that you are going to call first just based around first impressions. All right, here we go. All right, I gave you guys a little bit more than 2.9 seconds, but think about it in your head. You don't have to answer it into the chat, but who are the practices, if you were to take a second look at this, who are you calling first? And hopefully you've answered number 6 and number 2. Now, if we revisit this, and guys, by the way, just so you all know, these are all #1 ranking websites for Botox in their local markets. So when it comes to the top of search results, these are the first impressions that we're finding. #1, there's no, it's just white on white. I mean, there's nothing that really speaks to me in terms of, oh, wow, I would really like to go to this practice. #3, if we take a look at this, there's an adage in marketing that we says a confused mind says no. And dear Lord, there are so many layers to the navigation here. You have 3 layers on the top. You have a side navigation. You have all these like highlight boxes. It's like, where do I go? It just feels so congested and so busy. #4, I have a kindergartner. I think that they're teaching kids how to code now in kindergarten. So I'm pretty sure that my son Jude could have built this. Keep in mind, #1 ranking website for Botox for #5. I love Sente. I love it. I use it on my face. But if I'm searching Botox and I'm seeing products, what is that messaging that's really connecting for me as a potential patient, right? So again, first impressions matter. If we look at these sites here, they're the most visual, they're the most engaging. They say so much without saying so much. And you have to be able to create the most visually stimulating website if you want it to convert into leads for your practice. Now, what I will say here, and this is where we're going to talk about medical aesthetics and how great this site is, for example. If it's not built to, #1, have a great sense of first impression, as well as convert, it's not doing the job for your practice in the way that it should. So when we look at a website like this, and as we start to scroll down, look at your website. When's the last time you thought to yourself, well, gee, how hard is it for us to find the phone number? Because the phone number, which is one of the most immediate calls to actions that patients will see, should always be on the eye line of your website. Guys, you know this better than what I do because you actually see your patients on a day-to-day basis, but it takes patients a long time to make any type of aesthetic decision. Erica, I'm sure that you could probably confer that as well too. But by the time we've made that decision already, boy, I wanted that thing yesterday already. So again, the site has to convert efficiently. It has to meet people and not introduce more friction into the lead generation process. One of the things that we've also have found that has been a huge game changer for the clients that we serve is the use of AI chat integrations. Folks, if you do not have AI chat on your website, you are leaking leads as we speak. What we have found is that 40% of your website visits happen outside of normal business hours. That's almost half of your traffic, right? And think about it. Everyone's working during the hours of 9 to 5. So what happens when your practice is closed? Is there something that can create engagement for leads when people land onto your website? Now, guys, there's a statistic as it relates to lead generation that I want you all to remember. When leads come in, and if they are engaged within the first 30 minutes of time, on average, you're converting that lead to consultation 78% of the time. If it's longer than 30 minutes, the conversion rate drops by half to 34%. So again, the practices that are winning the revenue are the ones that are winning the engagement game. So I can go to a website like this, for example, and this is a website product. Both of these are great looking websites that we've developed for these practices here. But think about this as having like ChatGPT that sits on your website, and it understands everything about your practice as it relates to the content. So I might ask this, What type of PRP services does your practice offer? And what the chat will then be able to do is it will be able to understand everything about your practice as it relates to the content. We offer PRP injections primarily benefiting individuals with thinning hair, early stage hair loss, weak hair follicles, not because of pain management or pain related issues, but again, it's understanding the content on the website and being able to create that instant engagement for your leads. And as a matter of fact, here, guys, let me also share with you and this is really kind of proof in the pudding as to why you need to have AI chat onto your website. This is a case study that we had profiled for one of our clients, Dr. Martha Stewart. And before you guys continue, I know what you're thinking. No, I'm not talking about Home and Gardens. This is a real dermatologist that's in Louisiana. We built her site. But Dr. Stewart's practice, very sustainable, very word of mouth driven, was comfortable with that, not really looking to expand or to grow. But then what happens? Well, I'm adding in a few new staff members. I'm adding in some additional services. I'm looking to maybe increase that to get my staff busier. So this practice was averaging around 20 different website leads on a monthly basis. And look at what happened in May of 2025. The moment we turned on that chat integration, lead generation shot up tremendously. An average client that we're seeing that's generating 35% more leads from their website is because they have AI chat. Now, here's the kicker. Of that 66 increase, 55 of these were converted into booked appointments. Again, let me go back to the ideation is that the ones that are creating the efficiencies within their digital marketing that have a complete infrastructure are the ones that are winning the revenue game. It's just really as simple as that. Now, what I will say to you is that the website in today's age, everybody, it's just the commodity. This thing has to be built well. It has to convert efficiently, but it need not cost you an arm and a leg to be able to develop it. That's one of the reasons why when we work with our clients, we charge nothing upfront to recreate something that will look amazing. But it's much more about how do I nurture and how do I drive my visibility. Now, there's so much that I could talk about this subject, but I want to give you guys two key foundational elements to your visibility when we talk about your digital strategy. It's what we call your local visibility. What does local visibility mean? It's when patients are going to a platform like Google or a chat GPT and they might be saying, hey, Google, show me like who's doing, Daxify near me, or maybe in this particular case, who's doing PRP for hair restoration in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Those are both examples of what we would refer to as a locally based search. So the question is, what are these search engines really looking at? What do they want to see within a strategy to say, yeah, you know what, patient, this is a good resource that you need to check out. And I'll tell you, it doesn't start by looking at your website, guys. It doesn't start by looking at all the social media content that you're posting as well, too. But how search engines and Google determines local ranking, it boils down to three main factors. Number one, how far is the inquirer from your practice's location? Secondly is what we call relevance. And third is all about prominence. Relevance, this really refers to how well a profile matches what somebody is searching for. So it's important to add complete and detailed business information to help a search engine better understand your practice. Folks, this has everything to do with what we would refer to as local listings. So what are local listings? Local listings are these profiles that exist across the internet. There's about 60 of them, as well as 15 applications. And so when these near me searches are being done, again, just going back to Google's definition here, it wants to understand what the heck this practice is all about. And what it's looking to see is consistency of your information across these directories. Now, when you have a high degree of listing inaccuracy, it really reduces the trust that a search engine like Google will find within your practice. That lessens your visibility, that lessens your lead flow. Therefore, that lessens how you're converting revenue efficiently. Now, I know what you're thinking. I've not heard of some of these profiles. Why do they matter? Nor have I. Nor am I suggesting that a patient will go to these profiles. They go to Google for that, but Google does rely on this information. So ultimately, even if you're not being listed here well, it's causing trust issues. And what we can find here, Pouty and Plush is the name of the business, but sometimes these directories are saying, well, no, Jamie Young is the title of the business, which that's not accurate. Jamie might be the owner, she might be the main provider, but that's not what we refer to as this business entity. Even something like this, where an aesthetics practice is being confused for a demolition company. I'm probably sure that you would not want your, people that are looking for have a sledgehammer to take down some drywall calling your practice, right? So you can clearly see why this can really create, again, visibility issues for your website. Now, for you to try to override this or to correct this, this is not something that you can actively do on your own. You need processes or tools that will help to support this for you. One of the most foundational things that we integrate when we put together a strategy is an AI tool that we have, which is called Local Power. And what Local Power basically is it's an integration that we connect into your Google business profile. And it's a combination of offense and defense, where if there is any misinformation, if there's bad data, like you being confused for a demolition company, what we do is we suppress this through this tool. But then the output of this is that we push all of the clean and the accurate listing information about your practice to all these profiles and directories, and we maintain that. It's not just about name, address, and phone number. We're optimizing office hours, services, payment methods that you might offer at your practice. It's really complete business listing management. Now, what we had found from an output perspective is that when practices align this well, good things are going to happen as it relates to their visibility strategy. This is a case study that we had profiled looking at over 200 of our aesthetics practices that we do this for. Some folks were in a very bad state of inaccuracy, others were better. Some were doing more to supplement their marketing, others were a little bit less. Bottom line is that an average practice over a 2-month period generally will see a 23% increase of more views of their practice on internet searches. Direction requests to your practice will increase by 22%. Website traffic will increase by 18%. Phone call volume increases by 11%. All of these are calls to actions, which again on the back end equate to revenue. So when the goal is to grow well, this is where your work begins. Now, how we start to manage this is through, again, having a complete system that understands everything about the top of your lead funnel. And this is our success center. This is what helps to drive your profitable growth. So often I talk to practice owners and they're like, I don't know how many leads my website generates. I don't know what's happening. This could be doing something. They have no clear picture as to what does return on investment look like. And that's what this AI-driven platform helps to do. We can show practices at any given time, hey, how many leads has my website generated? How many leads have you attempted to reach out to? Who was converted? Understanding that what are these leads actually worth to us over the course of time? That's what we call patient lifetime value. Here's another statistic. An average med spa patient will be worth to your practice $57,000 over a 10 to 15 year life cycle. So think about it. Did you spend $1,000 on your marketing this month, but it created that lifetime customer for you to serve for years on end? That could be a 52x ROI. But if you don't have systems in place that are helping you to really truly understand that, it's hard to grow much more efficiently. If you, again, wanted to understand your listings, how are my listings helping to increase more of my inbound call volume to my practice? How is it driving more website traffic? How is it creating more direction requests? The AI will be able to tell you that. Understanding, differences with your Google search impressions. How does that differentiate between search versus maps? Oftentimes, practice owners do not think about Google Maps as being a search engine, but it absolutely is. Are you then understanding, hey, you know what? How is my maps visibility increasing over a given time period? Well, this chart will say to you, listen, your maps visibility has increased by 76%. Do you have different charts that can help you to understand other engagement measures for patients? A chart like this, I can say, you know what? Generally Thursday, you get the most direction requests to your practice from people using Waze or Google Maps. And so maybe does that help to inform how you're optimizing your schedule, where patients are coming in from, or the staff that you might be bringing in? Again, that's what we talk about driving profitable growth. That's what these insights are all meant to do. Now, the last thing I want to talk to you about with visibility, and then I'm going to kick it over to Skya. If we go back to, again, how to ace your local presence, we talked about relevance, which is consistency with listings. The other aspect of this is prominence. How often are new reviews being populated and being put to your Google business profile? So folks, prominence and Google review consistency matters tremendously in terms of how you are increasing your exposure, increasing your Google visibility, but to do it in the most cost-efficient way. The challenge that a lot of our practice owners say is that, you know what, I have so many happy people. I ask them to leave me reviews. They say that they're going to do it, but they just don't do it. And again, let me go back to the idea you have to remove the friction. You have to make sure that the patient's journey, their behavior, their engagement is as frictionless as possible. One of the tools that we offered help to support our practices is a tool here, which is called Review Power. And what this basically is, this is a text-based application that allows anybody at your staff, your front desk, administrators, owners, whomever, an ability of sending out a mass text message to as many of your patients all at the same time. Can you email? You certainly can, but when you text, that conversion rate of the review increases by 80%. So you always want to be thinking in terms of a text-based discipline. We click next here. From here then are these pre-scripted text templates that you can choose from. You can modify this languaging however you would like to. I'm just going to put at the bottom here, MyAdvice plus Boulevard. What we do is we integrate this both with Google as well as with Facebook. Folks, there's a lot of review sites which exist out on the internet. Google and Facebook, these are the two that have the most direct application to how you're driving revenue. Google's much more about how you're converting and acquiring more revenue. Facebook is really much more focused on retention of revenue. How do you build that relationship with your patients once they've come into your door? Both are very important, but both will swim in it from different angles. Now, from here, very simply, what a practice owner can do, especially if you have a busy practice like a medical aesthetics, what they can do is they can export a client list from Boulevard. They can, cross off the names that they don't want to send it to, and they could just simply drop that list right into here. Or alternatively, what a practice can do is just simply type in the patient's name, put their cell phone number in, click next. Here's also a pro tip, everybody. What we have found is your best times to convert reviews are Monday through Thursday between 6 to 7 at night. So that's obviously your dinner time. If you don't want to, be responsible every single day for sending texts out at dinner time, you can pre-schedule these to go out at any moment in time. I'm just going to send this out immediately. So when I do that, your job is basically done. On the receiving end, a patient receives a text. It's coming directly from a local number. In this particular case, we're going to tie this in here into an 801 phone number. You can see it's "Hi, Michael," just right over here. It's signed from MyAdvice and Boulevard, so it's a very unique message that I'm getting as a patient. And what do I do? I click on this link. It routes me to a landing page where we put your logo and your branding. And here's your direct integrations with Google and Facebook. If I click on Google, I'm signed in, it literally takes me directly here to where I would then leave you that review. Makes it very, very easy and very simplistic. But again, folks, why do we do this? This is all about driving profitable growth. This is a case study that we put together on this platform with Dr. Saltz, one of my clients. Over the course of a year, just in terms of driving more review consistency, he drove 40% new visitors to his website that did not know that he had existed. His conversions increased by 38%. He was booking 38% more of his website visits because of increased Google reviews. Again, this is why we say it's a cheap form of marketing that drives a very high ROI. Now, the last thing I just want to point out here to you, and I'm going to kick it over to Skaya. An effective review strategy is 4 things. You want to have a high rating. Ideally, it's a 4.8 to a 5.0. You want to have good consistency. That profile needs to be fed weekly with reviews. You want to have a good volume of reviews. You want to be consistent with it. But the last part is you want to respond to your reviews. You want to be engaging with your reviews. It's actually a signaling factor that Google looks at to promote your practice more for search. So a lot of times what practice owners will do is they will not reply because they don't know what to say. They're concerned about legal guidelines. They might just get bogged down with work and they just don't have time to go through all these reviews to reply to. Let AI do that heavy lifting for you. And that's where we have integrated a language learning model into our platform here, where through AI, it will be able to generate a HIPAA compliant response, which means that, hey, there's no acknowledgement of the patient's name, no acknowledgement of the service they've had done. Patient writes here, I've been a patient of Dr. Rubio for 10 years, always done such great work. All my friends were surprised when they found out I had Botox done. Now, in practice, what we do is we automatically, the AI, as soon as this review is generated, the AI will get to work in terms of creating that response for you. It doesn't fire it off right away, but it drafts that response directly here. It sends it to your email. So all that you have to do is click publish directly from your phone, and that gets populated directly to Google here. So, hey, thank you for sharing your thoughts. Practice is committed to providing quality healthcare. It has no mention about Botox. It has no mention about the patient's name. So again, how are we creating much more efficiencies within your digital strategy? So folks, to recap, it's all about removing the friction. How are you using AI to be able to make the patient's journey easier? Great converting website, great visuals, good local strategy, AI chat tools. All these are really part building blocks that ultimately drive that high value revenue growth for your practice. So with that end, Skaya, let's talk about how now when Boulevard comes into play, how great your system is in terms of really engaging with those leads.
Beautiful. I'm gonna go ahead and pop open my screen share. That is a perfect segue into what we're talking about today from the Boulevard side of things, which is really enhancing the client experience, utilizing AI while still keeping it super high value, super luxury. I'm not going to spend too much time on this intro page. Michael did a beautiful job introing me, but really my role here at Boulevard and in the industry is taking my experience over the past 10 years, working in all different roles, and applying that to how we can create more successful and profitable med spas from a technology standpoint. So, what I'm going to talk about a little bit starts with this wholesome kind of ecosystem that we like to call the client experience. You can also refer to this as like your patient experience, but this holistic journey starts at the time that a client or patient is interested in a service and visits your website. So, everything Michael was talking about from that first 2.9-second glance, we knew those two websites were the ones that we're most likely to pick as consumers, right? So everything from the time they visit your site to when they book their appointment to when they come in and to when they leave and they're being nurtured by your marketing campaigns or your review requests or rating requests after their appointment. It all creates this holistic journey, and your technology has to work in tandem and really holistically to be able to support this. Now, we worry about AI just in general. There's a lot of buzzwords. There's a lot of people that question if it takes the human element out of it, if it takes the high touch experience away from it. So, really thinking about, is it possible to scale with AI while keeping and preserving that amazing client experience? And I think Michael and myself are both here to tell you guys that it really can, and it can honestly push it further than we've seen in the past. I'm going to talk about three different ways where AI is really coming into play with the client experience and where Boulevard really has high touch models in place for that. So, we're going to talk a little bit about scheduling, we're going to talk about impactful marketing, and we're also going to talk about how to support not only yourself, but your internal team members, whether it's providers, front desk people, anyone working with your technology so that they can use it successfully. So, jumping into scheduling, this is one of my favorite points to talk about because when I was a service provider way back in the day, I actually managed all of my scheduling on my own. I didn't even let front desk people schedule my clients because I felt like didn't know the exact ins and outs and what order of things that I needed scheduled. And I knew that if I could increase my revenue per hour, that would increase my profit per hour. So I was trying to stack treatments and really anchor appointments together. And then when I saw Boulevard's scheduling algorithm or precision scheduling for the first time, it was really the first of its kind, and it was really groundbreaking for the industry in terms of having a online scheduling tool that allows for booking that's intelligent, analyzing what are trends, what are potential gaps that we can avoid, and offering times to consumers or clients that are actually more optimal for the business than just any time. So this is not only making your guys' lives easier, decreasing the amount of phone calls, like Michael talked about. When's the most common time that clients are reaching out to schedule appointments? After hours. So being able to surface something to them where they can book in under 30 seconds and they can do it accurately so that your front desk isn't having to spend any time reaching out to correct that booking is vital. Also, all of the automation that comes with this is key. So, automating appointment reminders, forms, medical intakes, all of that. I want anyone who is working the front desk to have time to focus on clients in person when they walk into the business, to greet them, to spend time answering their questions in person. So, reducing that busy work or that admin work that can be automated or streamlined by AI is vital so that you can have that really amazing in-person client experience and still serve your clients who are trying to book online, get their services scheduled, purchase gift cards, memberships, packages. All of that is going to lead to an increase in efficiency and revenue. Now, once your clients come in, they receive their services, they're wowed by your service providers and the in-person experience they have. There is a nurturing process that needs to take place. We get busy. It happens to me all the time. I forget to schedule my next Botox appointment, and then it's 4 months down the line, and I see movement coming back in, and I'm rushing to get an appointment. Something that can really nurture clients in a thoughtful way is utilizing AI to have more intelligent marketing. So we never want marketing to feel super markety, right? We want it to feel like it's personalized. We want it to have high impact. We never want anything being flagged as spam, whether it's through email or text message. The goal is to drive an action of either reaching out to the business, making a purchase, scheduling an appointment. So, really utilizing high impact marketing, whether it is to blast out a monthly newsletter or it's a text promotion of a new service that's coming out saying, hey, we have this great new service, come in and try it this month for a special price or for a free gift with purchase, whatever it may be. But you also don't want to spend a ton of time building out these campaigns. I know back in my day, I did not want to spend time building drip campaigns and building algorithms out of who to send what to. That's where AI comes into play, and Boulevard utilizes this to create really intelligent and really impactful marketing so that you don't have to worry about anything. It's set it and forget it. You can use a super easy email or text builder that's super user friendly, no coding required, and it's going to be sent to the clients that need that nudge when they need that nudge, and it's going to run in the background so you don't even have to worry about it. And then while all of that is taking place, supporting all of your clients' needs from their first initial time visiting the business, scheduling their first appointment to nurturing them, there's also an aspect of technology that can be increased or improved with AI. And I like to talk about this because when someone is working the front desk or they're working with clients, it can be extremely stressful utilizing technology, especially if you're not sure how to do something or you forget how to do something within that platform. So Boulevard offers a intelligent AI chatbot. We call them Billy, and this helps surface instant answers to your team or to yourself when you're looking for something in the platform. So let's say you're like, "Hey, I forgot how to pull this or how to configure this." You can ask Billy, they will surface a instantaneous answer. So you don't need to wait on support on hold or wait for someone to get back to you on questions. It's super streamlined, super fast. And when you do need a real human and you want to talk to someone, you need a phone call, an email, there's always someone monitoring it and available to help if needed. So it kind of brings the best of both worlds. So you get instant answers, but there's always someone there to support if needed. This will help your team utilize the technology better and also not come to you as with many questions like, hey, how do I do this? Or where do I find this? Or I need to add this note to a client profile. How do I do that? So it's streamlining everything for everyone involved and allowing your team to focus on driving that client experience and also doing all of the tasks and roles responsible or requirements that they have as quickly as possible and being able to serve your clients. So that kind of covers the three areas that I wanted to focus on in terms of how AI can be incorporated not only just into kind of the client experience, but also into just how your team and your business is utilizing the technology. We've put in a QR code here. You can scan this to learn more about Boulevard and how Boulevard can help support growing your medical aesthetic business, med spa, whatever it may be. And we have a ton of good resources on our website that I always shout out to everyone. They're free to access. We have an amazing med spa case study that actually shows the KPIs and improvements that businesses see after utilizing Boulevard for a year. So seeing where they go from pre-Boulevard to after Boulevard. And it's really, really amazing to see the impact on revenue and appointments booked, decrease in no-shows and cancellations, all of those amazing things. And then we have a ton of additional content on just overall best practices, marketing methods, a lot of really great resources that are totally free to you guys. So definitely scan that QR code, visit our website, and I'd love to answer if there's any questions in the chat or if any questions come up, feel free to always reach out to Boulevard.
Awesome. Thank you, Skye. And let me also kind of give you guys a little bit of a plug here as well, too, because one of the things as a marketer that I really love about what you guys do is that all of the booking is done within the website environment. And it makes things so less clunky from a patient's perspective. It has search optimization benefits. These are practices that we work with here and that we've built their sites, but all of these use a different booking platform. So when I click on book, and now I'm taken off of their site and I'm onto another profile, another platform. Same thing here with this. It's like I click on the book now. Yeah, if I'm on a mobile phone, it's like it can get very clunky. It's like, wait, I wasn't done with the website yet. I need to go back. I need to, read some more information. The thing that I love about how you guys integrate is that when people want to book, it's all right here. There's no secondary site. There's no off to like some other ether. It's like the whole patient's experience is all engaged within, again, one main system. So I love that about what you guys are doing. It's one of my most favorite features of this as a platform from a marketer's perspective. So great. So before we kind of wrap up and take some Q's and A's here, Skye, that was some great information as well here too that you had shared with your QR code. I have some information as well too that I would also like to impart. Folks, we've actually put together a really nice webinar exclusive package. If you know that you're trying to take your strategy up to the next level, we're now in Q4. I can't believe I'm even saying that. But this is the time to really make sure that you're positioned well to end this year as well as start 2026 on a strong foot. We've put some great webinar packages here together through the end of this month where we're going to be offering up to a 33% discount on our website and marketing packages. If you know that you need to take advantage of that, please would love to be able to make sure that you can capitalize. Also, too, for webinar attendees exclusively, we will be offering you a free month complimentary gratis to get started with us to get you really set up for success through the 30th of this month. And so if you're approaching this conversation knowing that, hey, listen, I need a better booking platform, I need a better digital strategy, give myself a call, give Skye a call, book that, whatever that might be. This is some QR codes where you can book a complimentary consultation to connect one-on-one with me, as well as a link to my Instagram here as well, too. So before we take some Q's and A's, what I wanted to do is also now introduce Erica Conforti. So Erica manages medical aesthetics. Again, very successful practice that is in Massachusetts. I know that Erica, I think that you're having maybe some camera
Can
issues
you
right
hear me,
now.
Michael?
Yeah, we can hear
Is that
you.
okay? Is it
Yeah.
spotty?
Nope, you're coming in loud and clear.
By the way, you and Sky, those presentations were unreal. I even had a refresh on some stuff.
Oh, great. Awesome. Glad to hear you
All
say that.
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited to talk about this because of the huge difference it's made in our business as we've been growing, because we now have 4 locations in Mass. We grew pretty quickly. So It was a very big learning process for us as far as website, which systems to use. But the integration between MyAdvice and Boulevard for us, especially someone like me who now manages 4, I'm always looking for ways to simplify systems and still give our patients the best experience possible. So what I love about this duo of MyAdvice and Boulevard, the integration was seamless. It connects the online experience directly with the booking experience. So from a business perspective, the integration saved us time, which is key. It reduces a lot of errors. The patients don't have to jump between platforms or a call, and it's all connected, smooth, and user friendly. So they can go to our website and learn about a service and see what we offer. And in just a few clicks, they can book it in whatever location that is best for them. So we're seeing more bookings since the integration, less stress on our front desk team, which is always great. And overall, the integration has improved the patient journey and really has supported the growth in our business. It's just been a game changer for us. When we stepped up our SEO, when we refreshed our website, like everybody got to see, we've had a huge increase in online bookings to the point where our email leads lessened. And at one point, we weren't sure why. And then we realized that the website traffic was converting into bookings right away. So even in our typical slow season of August, which most med spas know that, we were not far off from our February and March bookings and leads, which is huge for us. And both are very data driven, which me and my CEO, that's huge for us. We can keep track of which services get the most clicks and bookings. Boulevard especially is so easy for pulling reports on patients, keeping their records, the forms, the automated reminders. Compared to the old system we were using, we had none of that. So that has been a huge help for us. And both support teams have been great. As Gaia said, Billy is probably my favorite help robot. So that has been really huge for us. So that is what we have seen as we are growing with both of you guys.
I love hearing that. It sounds like, you know, we're helping to serve the mission of making your life easier. I'm curious to know.
Oh, absolutely.
So since you're really helping to spearhead a lot of the growth at your practice, Erica, how has this ease or maybe less stress, what has that given you in terms of what you can focus on even further?
That's actually great. I was going to touch on that. We really can focus more on patient care and the experience in the spa and not focus so much on, you know, booking or the automated reminders or the abundance in phone calls we used to get all the time and trying to keep up with emails and making sure we're responding in time. So it's been huge since we integrated on. I could not believe we actually just had a meeting with MyAdvice on the online booking conversion rate.
I love hearing you say
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yep.
Yeah, I love that point about the conversion rate. I think that's something that not a lot of people take into consideration with the online booking process of that is truly the ultimate measurement of your lead conversion is are they going to the website and actually booking a service? And I think that having a booking process where we're removing those friction points like Michael's talked about, if we can remove any of those pain points or those sticking points, that's really what's going to lead to a client being like, great, I want to book here. It's so easy to schedule. Even though there's, 20 med spas near me, this one is really speaking to me and I'm able to book my appointment or get that information right when I need it.
Exactly. Response time is everything, I feel like, in this business. And this has just been a game changer for us since we integrated both. Schedules have been thriving all around and even at our new location. And like I said, what was huge for us is August is a slow season. And we found that this August this year, we really didn't slow down as much as we had thought when we saw the numbers. And that was solely because our new website, it was so easy to convert the online booking. So that was huge for us.
You know, it's so funny you say that because I think that that is, I hear this all the time. It's slow, things are slow, things are slow. And whenever I hear that, what I'm kind of thinking is like, why are you not being more proactive than with your growth?
Exactly.
Because the slow season, if you're concerned about the slow season in August, that's a problem that you need to start to address in January. And
Exactly.
and it sounds like you have taken a really proactive approach in terms of how you look at that. And while a lot of other people are just, kind of, sweating their palms and complaining, you're being much more proactive about how you're investing into your lead nurturing and your conversions. Um,
Yes, and MyAdvice and Boulevard have so many options. Boulevard, like the automated messages, they send out a birthday one, they send out reminders you haven't been seen in a while. So it's just huge.
Totally. Yeah. And you know what, just to kind of go back to what you also said too, it allowed us to like give us more of the flexibility and the freedom of being able to really, you know, focus on patient care. That's lifetime
Exactly.
value. I mean, while other practices are ruining their budgets because they're so like they're just chasing the next
They're
dollar they have to
overwhelmed.
run the acquisition in, you're able to keep those patients into your door, treat them well, keep them stickier clients to you, and they're going to stay with you. Um,
Exactly.
that's scalability. That's practice valuation. Those are multiples, folks, that if you're thinking about a transaction of your practice in time, all add tremendous amount of value to the bottom line. So we have a few questions
Yeah.
here. And Erica, thank you so much for your feedback here.
Thank you guys so much.
It's really valuable to hear from the client perspective in terms of what your thoughts are on how some of these things are working. Scott, got a question here for you that came in. Any examples that you can share about how other med spas measured revenue growth or client retention improvements after adopting some of your internal AI features?
Yeah, definitely. The one really amazing thing about Boulevard is we have a report built into the system, and it's based on either staff specific retention for clients or just overall location retention. So actually pulling that metric takes less, it's one click and you are able to see it. So once you toggle on things like those automated marketing campaigns or start utilizing online scheduling, you're going to be able to see those things like retention go up. You're going to be able to see things like average visit value or average visit frequency increase. That's something that I think, highlighting to the last point that we were talking about of that patient experience or that client lifetime value, whatever you want to refer to it as, is there's something to be said about client visit frequency is also very important. So if you have those clients that only come in every 4 months for Botox, they haven't tried anything else, that's a really effective audience to market out to and say, hey, let's get you in for some other services. Because if we can get you in for a hydrofacial or microneedling in between those talk services, that's huge for not only retention, loyalty, average visit, but also increasing revenue overall.
Totally. Yeah, I could not agree more. Again, it's driving a lot of that profitable growth that we were talking about earlier.
Yep.
Um, Question came in here. This is a little bit more on the marketing side. What's the best way to measure the effectiveness of our marketing campaigns and to track ROI? Again, folks, this is why you need an integrated system that measures return on investment and everything that you're doing from your digital strategy. Really, when you talk about lead flow, again, it's not just about one thing that you're doing. It's about how many pieces fit together. It's kind of like the equivalent if I were coming to see you as a patient and I said, hey, make me look better. I want some microneedling, I want some tox, but I smoke and I drink and I party my face off all the time and I eat like crap and I don't exercise, but yet you're Jesus Christ, right? You expect you to be a miracle worker. And again, it's not just about like the one thing. It's not just about your social media that you're posting consistently. It's not just about your ad campaigns. It's about how a lot of these pieces fit together. Now, again, if you don't have a system in place that will measure that, it's much more difficult to make these more predictive decisions in terms of how you're investing into growth. Or, when you're bringing in a good booking system like Boulevard, And now you have such systems working in harmony together that allows you to focus more on bigger picture items at your practice. It's about, just getting out of the hamster wheel and really taking the bull by the horns and charting your own path. And again, that's really one of the benefits of the Success Center, is that the system itself, with a lot of the AI that we're doing, is able to measure return on investment for every layer of marketing that you're doing to drive your visibility. So with that said here, any other questions, folks? I'm going to get this going once, going twice. If not, Erica, Skaya, this has been such an enjoyable conversation. I've learned a lot here myself as well, too. It's a pleasure sharing the screen here with you both this evening. Thank you both for your contributions. Again, for those who are, of course, absolutely. We will be sending out a recording to this as well, too. Feel free to share this with any of your coworkers, colleagues, friends, what have you.
They were already asking.
Sounds good. Be well, everybody. Thanks again for your time. Have a good evening.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.